Jordan! Who was hosting a cocktail party when they accidentally added a horrible, mysterious, unknown chemical into the shaker by accident. They served it to Aunt Mildred, she evolved into something horrific, and now, instead of cocktail host, you're a soldier in the battle for Earth.
Macaulay Culkin?
No. Two guys. What? Hello and welcome to episode 130 of Two Guys What's Up, the weekly comedy podcast where I don't need to worry about mysterious chemicals because I can stomach anything. But one guy who moans when I even so much as mention the drain cleaner is this guy. It's Jordan. Jordan, how are you?
I'm alright, thank you. I survived after the last drain cleaning.
Mate, it's always good, just to finish the night off with something that's going to clear you out. It's like a little cleanse.
I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to stop going down that line of jokingness and not suggest drinking drain cleaner. Do not do that.
Yes, yeah.
I don't do that. I was joking.
Maybe a good idea. Can I just say, and just a little apology, if anybody hears any fan noise in the background, because we're currently, as we're recording, amidst a bit of a heat wave. Oh, Jesus, that was my tambourine.
Oh, wait, paranormal starting already.
Yeah, we're amidst a little heat wave, and I feel like I'm about to spontaneously combust. The room that I'm recording in faces the sun on a morning. I'm just going to have it on. And I'm going to have to deal with the EQing afterwards.
Is this going to be a running theme for you now? Like last week it was like, oh, please excuse the whining dog, we're looking after somebody else's pet. Today it's the fan. Next week you were like, please excuse the jackhammer, I've taken up a new profession. I now fix roads and I have to get through this module before 12 o'clock, so the jackhammer will be on in the background.
Well, you say that. I have just closed my window because outside was the street cleaning van.
Oh, God, him again.
So I did have a bit of a nice breeze as well, but, I'm doing my best.
Yeah, I have shut my window because the road is right outside my window and I can't be doing with, like, me talking and every so often in the background hearing, yeah. And I was happy. I had... Too much information, I know, I'm sorry, but bear with me. I had taken my t-shirt off and I was fairly comfortable, but I am expecting a delivery, so I'm going to have to bolt it to the door as quick as possible, so I have to, unfortunately, have my t-shirt back on. But you know what? Right, all this talk about heat, I have said to everyone this year, I am going to relish it and I am going to cherish every moment, and I am going to not moan about the heat because I remember in winter being sat in my living room with the heating on, wrapped up to my eyeballs in, like, all of my clothes and still shivering. So I'm going to appreciate the warmth.
It's very true.
I'm going to love it this year. So, if it's a million degrees and I'm sweating as fast as I'm drinking, I'm going to be like, no, this is good. I remember what it's like to be freezing and I'm going to love it this year.
A good way of thinking about it.
I'm going to appreciate it.
And also, by the time that this recording airs, we will have passed the summer solstice and it's going to start getting darker again.
Why do you do this to me?
I'm sorry. Well, it just gives you a bit of perspective to continue enjoying it.
I don't want your bloody perspective. I was enjoying it. Now I know it's pretty much winter. Now it's getting darker earlier.
It's not yet. It's all right.
You've ruined everything, Jordan.
I know, that's often the case.
I was in a happy mood.
All right. So you did just before recording say that you're feeling ready and amped up.
Yeah, man.
And is this why?
It's because I'm still drunk.
Right. Okay.
Yesterday was Father's Day, and after I finished my 11-hour shift at work, I came home, put my children to bed, went straight to my parents' house to wish my dad a happy Father's Day, and he was like, do you want a vodka? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he pulled out a mason jar that I got him for Christmas, I think it was.
Oh, right.
It's vodka that is, 1 minute, I have it open on my...
On my desk.
I wish I did have it on my desk. I need a little top up.
Yeah.
A minute, I have it open on my browser so that I can tell you specifically what it is. So it is 72% volume, 144 proof.
Jesus.
And I had one of those and Coke and was instantly drunk. And then I thought, I'm going to be sensible. I'm not going to have any more of that. I don't really want the alcohol poisoning that would probably follow it. And I was going to have a couple normal vodkas going forward. And then before I knew it, I was smashed, came home, drunkenly uploaded this week's release. So probably, 2 weeks ago's release. And woke up this morning and thought, oh, shit, I haven't done the fucking YouTube. And then luckily I had. So apparently when I'm drunk, I'm productive. And that's why I'm feeling amped
right
today.
Okay. So I'm waiting for the crash.
Yeah, expect that about halfway through.
now.
I'm starting to sweat like a bitch, so it's all going to be exiting my body.
Well, hey, at least you had a good time.
I did. It was a good evening. It was a lovely evening
Nice.
spent with my parents,
Good.
which I don't often get these days because, whenever we go around, we've got children running around, so
Yeah.
we've always all got one eye on them, and it's hard to sort of get into the conversation with a good beverage. But that was what we did. We listened to some music.
Oh, your dad was DJing.
Yeah, Dad, get your decks out. No, Dad, I said decks.
Oh, plural.
He's got a big collection.
Oh, good. Nice. I heard that. And while you were out getting pissed, I was there gigging, and something happened that took me by surprise.
Oh, Lord. Right, go on, tell me.
Well, I mean, it's nothing weird, but
I don't want to know then.
we're quite friendly with the manager, the owner, really. So we've finished set 1. We were just having a small break, and then set 2 was about to begin in 5 minutes' time. And the owner comes up to me, and he just says the words, "Is it possible? Can you do this without any of the electronics?" And I was like,
What?
I guess that was kind of my response, because obviously I thought, does he mean just switch everything off? And it was a busy pub, like you're not going to hear a thing.
His electricity bill's getting a bit high.
Yeah.
Either turn it off or buy a pint. Either way, I need money.
And I didn't know if it was because I use a little foot stomper box, like a kick pedal,
Yeah.
by my foot to kind of keep an even beat while I play. And I wondered if maybe he didn't like that or something. And then he said, "Oh no, it's because a friend of mine owns a pub down the road, and it's a microbrewery, and there would literally be no room for speakers and equipment." And then it made sense.
Right, okay.
So he was asking on behalf of them if we would consider doing that.
Yeah, that'd be fairly strange. What's even stranger is that he didn't come up to you and give you the context first. He just left you to stew in that
Exactly.
ambiguity of the question.
I don't think he realised that I wasn't just psychic.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
It just baffled me. Anyway, one last thing
Right.
before we kick in. It's episode 130,
It is.
which feels like a little milestone.
No. You're not allowed to do that to me. Back when we first started, right, I was like, whoa, it's episode 10. And then I was like, whoa, it's episode 20. And you were like, oh.
Yeah, no, but it's because you did it every episode. Like, hey, it's another one.
Look, apparently, right, that there are statistics out there. I don't know what they are, but like 90% or something stupid like that of podcasts don't get past episode 4 or something.
Oh, wow.
So, for us to get to 10 was amazing. And for us to keep up that work and get to 20, 30, 31, 2, 3, all those little ones were amazing. So we did a good job. And I felt like we needed congratulating. And then here you are going, oh, we're 130 episodes in, milestone. I feel like I'm being attacked here.
Well, you are.
Oh, shit, right. Is that what your segment is?
No, I just wanted to preface it and say, this is not my segment, but as a little bit of a mini celebration, I thought I'd just give you a couple of facts that use the number 130.
Okay, right.
So here we go. Just spout through 'em.
Hit me.
Did you know, Ian, there's 130 species of hummingbirds in South America?
No.
Oh, it's not true. No, it is. Did you know that Highway 130 in Texas has the highest speed limit in the US, which is 85 miles per hour?
No.
Oh, it's not true. It is. Did you know there is a place called the Winchester Mystery House in California? And that, basically a mansion, has exactly 130 rooms.
I did know that.
Ah, well, it's not true.
There's actually a lot of backstory to that Winchester house. Do you know about it?
Kind of, but not really.
Right. Do you want me to give you a brief description? Because it could probably be a full episode, but
I was going to say, yeah.
a little brief description for you, just in case it never comes to fruition. So the guy who owned that house was the creator of the Winchester rifle.
Okay.
And when he died, his wife was like, oh shit, all the ghosts of the people who my husband's creation has killed are going to come and haunt me. So she started building onto this house, and it's like in constant expansion.
Right.
And she keeps building like hallways that go nowhere and like different rooms everywhere, purely so that she thinks the ghosts will get confused and never find her.
Brilliant. I thought at first you were going to say when her husband died, she was like, shit, which room was he in?
I'll just keep building till I find him.
He's shouting for help. No wonder he's dead.
The last thing she heard was, bring me water.
Yeah, bring me my meds. And she's like, where are you, dear? And he's
And oddly enough, that was 130 days ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes sense. Also, 130 is an unlucky number in Italy.
All right. That's 10 times 13, isn't it? So
Yeah, I guess.
13 is pretty so 10 of them.
Yeah. 130 decibels is also enough to rupture your eardrums. And with that, I will leave that there.
Ah, well, thank you very much for that, Jordan. Round of applause. Thank you.
And I won't do this again.
131. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, love it.
Right, Jordan. So what are you going to be going into today?
Well, I've got a couple of stories for you of people who used to not believe in the paranormal, but have experienced something and now their mind has changed.
Oh, nice one. So this sounds like a segment that I'm actually going to enjoy.
Maybe not. I might deliver it in a really poor way.
Interesting fact for you, it took 130 episodes for Jordan to come up with a segment that Iain liked.
That is true. Well, you don't know that yet.
That's true. Yeah, we'll hold our reservations on that.
We'll give it another 130 and see.
Looking forward to it.
And what have you got for us?
Well, Jordan, today I have a case of a line of short fae folk that love to boogie.
Ooh, like Jackson 5.
I guess so, yeah.
Brilliant.
They were wearing earphones, so no one really knows what they were listening to, so it could have been Jackson 5.
Hopefully not at 130 decibels, they'd be deaf.
Everything's 130 today. It's weird. It's like it was meant to be.
Yeah, and it's your birthday today. Happy 130th.
I'm old. Bring me my meds.
Should we get to it?
Let's fucking do it, pal. So, Jordan, join me as we head to France in the summer of 1973. The place? A little town that, surprise, surprise, I can't read the name of, but it's written there if you would like to give it a go. Come on, bring out all your French. You go there regularly.
I don't know the first bit. It would be Kurgi, which is going to be wrong. Pontoise?
Right, thank you. I was just thinking Pontoise, but that's just my lack of culture shining through.
I don't think my answer was much culture either, with Kurgi. The most French-sounding thing ever.
Oh, it's a very, very Yorkshire French.
Kurgi, Pontoise.
I'm from Kirky Pontoise. Either way, it is nestled just outside of Paris.
And it's where they sell all the tortoise.
All the tortoise soup. It's its delicacy. Now, you may be thinking that a lovely little quiet town in France is not the kind of place you'd expect to find dancing goblins and a shimmering box hovering above a field. But that's exactly what one man said he saw. Hee-haw, hee-haw. This man, Jean-Luc, a 42-year-old farmer who lived in a stone house on the outskirts of town, didn't bother himself with the paranormal. The most outlandish thing in his life was the bright colour that he decided to paint his tractor, which is what makes what happened to him and his claims all the more strange.
All right. I'm not going to put anybody's hobbies down, but okay.
I'm not putting it down, I'm not, he's painting whatever he wants. But I'm just saying that is the most outlandish thing that happens in his life. He's like, that's a nice tractor, I'll paint that bright green.
If that's the height of your excitement, poor guy needs another hobby there.
Well, he's a busy man, he's got farming to do.
The Tortoise farm.
Well, that is how busy he is only illustrated, Jordan, by how early he gets up in the morning. Because it all started around 4:30 a.m. Jean-Luc's up, he's had his breakfast, he's had his coffee, and he's out to check his chickens. But as he steps into the cold morning air, he notices something immediately off. A thick greenish fog hovering on the ground above knee height. It had a weird smell to it, which Jean-Luc described as burnt cinnamon and metal shavings. Right now, and I just want to point out that is a very specific smell profile, and I think I've solved it. I think that's all he can smell. Like his nose was damaged in some kind of farming accident or something, and his kids come up to him like, "Daddy, smell this flower." And he's like, "Oh, that smells like burnt cinnamon and metal shavings."
What does metal shavings smell like?
That's a very good question.
I mean, I get the cinnamon bit, but metal shavings, there's surely no odour to that. It's about as bollocks as the ozone.
Recurring themes. Oh, I don't like it. Metal shavings. I don't know. I guess it's just like, when you shave metal, it would be the smell that comes from the process of it. I don't think, he'd picked up a bit of metal off the floor and be like, stinks that.
Also, it makes me feel like if you inhaled, that would be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, don't get too close. It's like a more dangerous version of Coke.
You get a nosebleed straight away.
My innards! Ah!
Fetch the foie gras.
Fetch the tortoise. I can't remember how we said it.
Tortoise.
Tortoise. Fetch me the tortoise. But anyway, so there was no wind, but still, this fog was moving, slowly gliding over the floor. He figured, oh shit, maybe some machinery has broken and is spilling out something. Maybe there was a fire. Sorry, I'm not going to insult another culture of people. I did it with the Australians, and I apologise. Well, I've done it. I've done it to the French now. I'm sorry.
I mean, you're not really, are you?
I am.
Still did it.
I am totally. Yeah, I didn't.
It's in your script. You said, fuck the nation.
I thought I was going to be able to do a good job.
Why?
Well, you know.
What made you think you'd do a good job?
Wow.
I'm sorry, I'm kidding. I love you.
You, Ian, doing something good? What made you fucking think for a second that would be a thing?
Sorry, that was cruel.
It's fine. I'm used to it. So, all this fog's moving. He's thinking there's maybe something gone wrong on his farm. But then he saw the box. Hovering just above the crop line in a nearby field was a cube-shaped object. It was about 2 meters across, had rounded corners, and a surface that shimmered like mercury. That was a beautiful noise. I don't know if you heard that.
I did slightly.
Oh, man, I can't wait to turn that up and put a little bit of reverb on that. It's going to sound sweet.
Does anybody listening want us to create some ASMR for them?
Everyone turned off.
That could be an additional Patreon tier.
Don't give them any incentive. Turn it off.
We could do some lovely card things, you know.
All right, yeah.
Be nice.
I'll tell you what, at the end of this, we'll put in an hour of ASMR.
You're like, why is this upload taking forever?
You can sample it, and if you like it, let us know.
Deal.
So I'll go and get on with my life, Jordan, and you can just sit and play with cards for an hour.
The poor guy who's driving and his controls stop working. He just wants the next episode.
Accidentally puts him to sleep.
Yeah. Nice.
So on this box, there were no wings, no lights, no doors. It was just floating silently. Being both brave and not yet fully awake, Jean-Luc decided to approach it. He got within about 10 meters of it before something changed. The fog stopped moving. The cube let out a soft hum like a refrigerator kicking on, and then the humanoids appeared.
Ugh.
Uh-oh. And they appeared in the strangest way you could think of. No door opened, no hatch flung open. Beside the cube just appeared a line of small figures, each no more than 2 feet tall, and there were at least 7 of them, all floating about half a meter off the ground.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Weird shit is afoot, Jordan, on this farm.
He's still not wide awake. He could be dreaming.
He could be dreaming. That's true.
End of.
Well, I'll just carry on anyway.
Okay. But just know we can disregard what you're about to say.
Yeah, just completely ignore the rest of this segment. So hovering above the ground, these things, probably trying to steer clear of the stinky fog, Jean-Luc described them like this. They had heads that were too big for their bodies and lanky limbs like puppets. They were dressed in what looked like black wetsuits and wore dark masks or visors that obscured their faces. And most bizarrely, they were holding each other's shoulders and moving in a line in perfect rhythm like a bizarre parade.
Ooh, doing a conga.
Come on and do the conga.
Do, do, do.
Ooh la la. Is that French?
Ooh la la. I suppose it is.
Come on and do the... I don't know. What's French for conga?
Come on and do a le conga.
Wow. Oh, so cultured. So he said these things were dancing, not wildly, not in joy, but almost like a ceremonial procession. He said it reminded him of a conga line.
No way.
Except silent and slow.
Oh, so not the fun version.
Not the fun version at all, no. Every few seconds, the entire line would glide sideways, pause, and then shift again. Kinda like they were scanning something or performing. Jean-Luc was scared solid. All he could do was stare, gobsmacked. Then, the creeper at the end of the paranormal conga line turned his head and he saw its eyes, glowing red like 2 tiny hot coals.
Yeah, that's awful.
At this point, Jean-Luc did what any rational man would do after seeing a spectral goblin train emerging from a cube in a fog that smells like Satan's gooch. He ran as fast as his little baguettes would carry him.
Nice. This seems insensitive, but go on.
Oh.
Necklace of garlic flowing in the wind.
God.
His beret cocked to one side.
I was just trying to be creative, okay?
Okay.
He ran straight back to his house, locked the doors, and waited, too scared to even dare look out of his windows. And by the time the sun was fully up, he worked up the nerve to go outside. The fog was gone, the cube was gone, and the field looked normal again, but there was one detail that he couldn't shake. There was a ring of burnt vegetation about 2 meters wide, exactly where the cube had hovered.
Right.
Spooky business, Jordan. What are you thinking right now?
I mean, it's a vivid dream.
Very vivid.
I mean, he had baguettes as legs, so...
Yeah, he could almost smell the burnt cinnamon and metal shavings.
Metal shavings.
Can you imagine him seeing this fucking thing, right, floating in a field, and these weird goblins dancing? He's like, I better get back to the house. He looks down, he's like, my legs are baguettes. What's going on? The metal shavings. The smell's too overpowering.
Oh, God. Yeah, poor guy.
Oh, what a time to be alive. Jean-Luc told his neighbours, who mostly thought he'd either had too much wine or not enough sleep.
Or both.
Which in my case is any given day. But eventually, his report made it to GEPAN, the French government agency responsible for investigating UFOs. They filed it, categorized it as Type D, meaning unexplained, credible, but with insufficient data, meaning essentially, we believe he saw something, but we have no idea what.
Right.
I'll tell you what it was. A floating metallic cube and fucking dancing goblins. That's what it was.
Okay.
And here's the kicker, Jordan. This town wasn't an isolated case. In the summer of 1973, there was a global flap of high strangeness UFO sightings, including multiple reports of small humanoid figures, cube-shaped craft, and strange fogs.
I've never heard the term fogs before. Feels like one of those words that shouldn't be plural.
Okay, do you want me to redo it for you?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, we'll just cut this bit out of you saying that, and we'll just make me sound stupid. Great. Another day in the life of Jordan, making Ian look like an idiot.
You do that yourself.
Yes, true.
No, but
okay.
genuinely, is fogs a word? Maybe it is.
I couldn't tell you, buddy. I just wrote it because I was just thinking people were seeing strange fog, so it's like they saw a fog, people have seen strange fogs.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jordan, fogs or not, from Argentina to Italy, Ohio to eastern France, farmers and rural workers were reporting similar combinations of phenomena: the weird floating boxes, glowing-eyed entities, and strange silent processions. There was no abductions, no communication, just these bizarre pageants of activity, like a performance trying to be seen. Jean-Luc didn't monetize this, he just reported it and went back to work. But you have to wonder, Jordan, just like I do, what do you think?
It's hard to say, isn't it? Because there really isn't much in terms of any evidence.
Well, one guy actually came forward and told his story. He was called Jean-Luc, and I just told it to you. There's your evidence, mate.
Okay.
Are you calling Jean-Luc a liar?
They calling him a truther.
Yeah, a UFO truther. He speaks the truth. Just because he's got some wacky painted tractors, don't make him a kook.
He's got baguettes as legs.
You'd be nice to Jean-Luc. That was a wartime accident, all right?
Okay. It's a very interesting story.
Yep.
It's a weird one. I mean, if that is true,
It is true.
That's strange.
Jean-Luc said so.
I mean, what happened after this? Was that just it?
Yeah. I mean, what would you do? If you saw that, what would you do?
I mean, I don't know what I would do.
You'd have to just go back to your life, wouldn't you? You couldn't just, sit there, rocking back and forth, just being like, fucking dancing goblins, mate. Dancing goblins.
I'd change my name to Baguette Legs.
I changed my name to I Saw Goblins, just so whenever anyone addresses me by name, they go, what's that about? And I have to tell them the story.
Maybe he could change his name to You Saw Goblins. And then when people say to him, hey, you saw goblins, he's like, I did.
I did. Funny story, actually. Let me tell you. Have you ever smelled burnt cinnamon and metal shavings?
That's weird.
That's his surname.
Also, as a farmer, how much would you know about the smell of metal shavings?
I fucking know, mate. I mean, I'm not a chef, but I can imagine what burnt cinnamon smells like.
Yeah, because that has a smell.
So, yeah, so does the process of shaving metal.
No, but he's not saying, it smells like someone was shaving metal. He just says it smelled like metal shavings. As if it was done long ago and they're just in the air.
Floating around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Metal particles. Common thing. Get over it.
I'm not sure how much I believe it personally, but I enjoyed the story all the same.
I believe you, Jean-Luc.
I'm sure he won't listen to this.
He's an avid listener.
Is he?
Yeah, he actually told me to tell the story. He was like, make sure you put in the part about the metal shavings. It was very poignant to the story. He said, Jordan will love it.
He was wrong.
Poor Jean. Any hoodle me old sandwich.
Baguette?
If you're just going to sit there and call me a liar, more accurately call Jean-Luc a liar, then I don't want to hear it anymore. I just want to hear your segment, please. Because I remember hearing it's something good and something spooky and, some paranormal shit that I was going to shit all over.
I don't know it.
I will get my own back.
So, okay. Well, thank you, Ian, for your segment, first of all.
No, not a problem.
I did enjoy it, despite what I said.
Very good to know.
Right, Ian. So this is people who used to not believe in the paranormal, but do now, and this is what changed their mind about it.
Yes, I'm in.
The first story. Worked at a public school. I would work alone after hours cleaning the building and the pool. One night, around 2 a.m, I'm cleaning the changing rooms. The pool has been closed for about 4 hours at this time. I hear the sound of a child's laughter and bare feet running across the pool deck.
No running in the pool.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Alas, nobody's there, no person in sight. The doors are all locked and closed, and there is nowhere that a kid could be hiding. No wet footprints on the pool deck. I rechecked the doors and the security monitors. I am the only person in the building. It was unsettling.
I can imagine that being very unsettling.
These, I should say, are starting out kind of maybe what you'd expect, and they gradually get, I think, a little bit more interesting.
Nice. Do you want to know something just before you carry on?
Go on.
One thing that always freaked me out is I have a friend that told me he heard in his bedroom a little girl laughing in the corner.
Ooh.
Right? And I thought that is incredibly unsettling. Like, that is like, I don't mind the paranormal. It doesn't really scare me. But if I were to hear something like that, it would terrify me.
Yeah, the sound of children's laughter is pretty horrible.
But then I experienced it and I didn't care. I was like, oh, okay, cool. It happened in my living room.
I think, yeah, you meant like behind you or something.
Yeah, I think it sounded like it came from where the wall was, essentially, in my living room. So I was sat, and to my left, it sounded like it emanated from there. And I was just like, oh, cool.
Do you think it was any relation to the child that your son saw?
Possibly. Could have been.
Yeah, that's freaky.
Apparently it don't bother me, so
Okay, well, that's good to know.
very good to know.
If it was in floods of tears, though, what would that make you feel like? Hysterically crying?
Well, as a parent, my dad gene would kick in and I would just have to stand, point and laugh, probably.
Makes sense.
Yeah, pull it together.
Ingrid. Next one. I was visiting my mother after my dad died. She went shopping with her sister and left me alone. I heard my dad, as plain as day, up in his room. He got up from his computer chair, walked over to the door and opened it. He walked down the stairs and stood on the last step for a few seconds before walking back up to his room and closing the door. I was probably 5 feet from him in the living room. I just froze. Scared the hell out of me.
Weird. Do you remember what that was called? We spoke about the 5 types of living ghosts.
Oh, such a good question. I've slept many times since then.
You have.
And you've probably slept like once.
Yeah, half a night here or there.
I don't recall. What would that be?
Can't remember. I was hoping you'd be able to tell me.
Okay. Is that genuine?
Yeah. I was thinking Vartiga, but that's the one that's like the premonition of something to happen, isn't it?
I don't know. It seems more like maybe not this, but like more stone tapey.
Yeah, possibly like some kind of residual energy or...
A replaying of...
That's the one, thank you.
Yeah. Bit weird though, isn't it?
Very strange.
Another one. Once while falling asleep after a movie with the family, I was woken up to what seemed like a small boy running towards the couch we were sitting on. I even immediately sat up and braced for impact. It was that real. Now, I would normally chalk it up to basically falling asleep, but my mum and dad also bolted awake at the same time. Before I could explain, my dad told me he saw a boy running towards us. His description of the boy matched mine, and my mother confirmed it as well.
Creepy business.
If that's true, I don't know how you define that as anything else than paranormal.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fact that it's seen by everyone.
Corroborated, yeah.
That's the word, thank you. I was thinking collaborated, but that's my other job. I actually have, oddly enough, a similar story to that as well.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah. I just want to preface this by saying that I chalk this up 100% to the fact that I was half asleep.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I was once sat at a garage, like just keeping an eye on it for the night, as the people who owned it were out on a Christmas do. So I was just like keeping an eye because the people kept coming down and trying to steal fuel.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I was sat in my car. It was December. It was very cold. So I was just kind of sat with the heating on, and I was very tired, and my eyes were kind of just like drooping. I wasn't asleep, but my eyes were drooping.
For legal reasons, you definitely weren't.
Yeah, well, I was keeping an eye. I was getting up and doing my regular checks and all that sort of stuff, but my eyes were like, I was getting a bit heavy. And in my wing mirror, my driver's side wing mirror, I could have swore I saw somebody poke their head out from behind a building and look at me.
Oh.
And like it was just like a blacked out figure, and like it was like upper body and head, so it wasn't just like a little, like their eye poking around the corner. It was like full upper body.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of like sat up and I was like, that was weird. Like blinked, the tiredness away. Got out, went and searched, and there was no one anywhere.
Ooh.
It was a very unsettling experience, to be honest.
So as you were saying that, I'm just thinking of the image of Mr. Bean somehow, and like, that's creepy.
What, Mr. Bean poking his head round the corner?
Yeah. It does have kind of like a creepy face.
Yeah.
Especially when he sort of smiles at you. I feel like that could be made into some sort of horror movie.
Yeah, do it. There's things that have been edited to look like horror, like comedy films that have been edited to look like horror on YouTube.
Yeah. See the Winnie the Pooh thing?
Well, I mean, that is now a full-on horror film, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So I was talking about like people that take like
Peppa Pig.
Yeah, like Peppa Pig, and just put a different music over it, edit it differently, and it looks like a horror trailer.
It's true. Yeah, it's a good point. Especially invert the image, it'll look crazy.
Very crazy.
As in the colours.
Yeah, of course. Like kind of like Jean-Luc's tractors.
Yeah, all metallic-y.
We can call it burnt cinnamon and metal shavings.
We could, or not.
I'm going to do it.
Someone else said, I saw a reflection of myself at the end of a hallway in a friend's apartment building. Only he told me the next day that there was never any mirror in the hallway.
Oh.
Yeah, scared the hell out of me. Now, I'm thinking...
Doppelganger.
Yeah, doppelganger, exactly.
Or biolocation? Duolocation? Ignore me.
I normally do. Or he didn't realise he had a twin.
Yes.
Separated at birth.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just so happened to be hanging out in his friend's house.
Yeah, and that other twin was like, fucking hell, I thought I saw myself.
Can you imagine if one guy knew a set of twins, but the twins didn't know of each other? So this one person just thought that he had one friend.
Who's got really bad memory.
Yeah, just saw him all the time. So, oh, hey, Bill. It's like, you keep calling me Bill. My name's Kevin. Like, okay, whatever you want to go by today, mate. Well, yeah, so I got you that 30 quid you wanted. It's like, well, I didn't ask for 30 quid, but I'll take it. And then comes back later. Oh, hey, Kev, it's Bill. I've told you this. Where's that 30 quid, by the way? It's like, fuck's sake.
Yeah. And he'll just think that his friends just never listen to him.
Yeah.
Because he'll be like, oh, my girlfriend broke up with me. She did?
Why are you wearing a wedding ring then? Terrible.
And speaking of doppelgangers, someone says, I was probably around 13 years old or so, had experiences with seeing apparitions since I was young, and many times the people I was with saw them as well. One night I was staying at my mum's house and brought my best friend with me. It was one of the first times I'd slept at her place since her and my dad broke up. My mum, her boyfriend, my brother, my friend and I were all in the living room. No one else was in the house. I glanced away from the movie we were all watching and looked into the hallway, which was pretty far away from where we were all sitting.
What did they see?
I see my mum's boyfriend, clear as day, standing face first into the wall, literally closer to the wall than was really humanly possible, as if his nose was embedded into it like a glitch in a video game.
Ew.
Initially, it gave me a scare because it seemed really strange and unexpected for him to just silently stand in the hallway for no apparent reason with his face smashed into the wall.
That is odd behaviour.
Kind of strange. I then looked over to my best friend and giggled, pointing at my mum's boyfriend in the hallway. We both laughed and said, "What is he doing?" And it wasn't more than a few seconds later when he said something referring to us giggling, and we realised right then that he'd been sitting behind the couch at his computer the whole time, right next to us.
Oh.
He was not in the hallway, no one was in the hallway, the guy with his nose crushed to the wall was gone, and we both started crying. Ever since then, every time I've been to my mum's house since I was 13, of which I'm 21 now, there has been some sort of weird apparition showing itself to me, but never again was it through a living person.
Oh, weird. Can I just say, that story was a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, that was a bit what?
First they were scared, then they were giggling,
Yep.
then they were crying.
Got it all in one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that would be.
I guess it'd just be some kind of entity, like ghostly sort of apparition.
Yeah, no, but would you call that a doppelganger thing? Because, I mean, it sort of took the form of the stepdad. I don't know.
No, yeah, I think if it was witnessed by him, then it'd have been a doppelganger. But if it's just something that's taken its form to f*** with you,
Right, okay.
it's just being a bit of a prick, really.
I see. So the doppelganger, as sort of its definition, has to be seen by the person who it looks like.
I don't think necessarily.
Okay.
But I think as it has not shown itself as that again, then it'd just be something just taking the form to try and trick you.
Okay, sneaky bastard.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone else says, a supposed ghost in a spirit talking app just kept saying, someone's here, cat in danger. A month later, we found out that our cat's thyroid levels were so high it could have seriously hurt her. The levels were almost 16 when it should have been less than 2. So, thank you, whoever's ghost that was. You saved my cat's life.
Yeah. And you know what? I do often harp on about the paranormal being evil, but there are good entities out there. But my main takeaway is, how do you know what you're talking to? So if somebody says it's good, and wait, hang on, I might be getting a little bit into the too deep down this rabbit hole right now.
Okay.
When things start wanting things from you, that's probably evil.
Right, okay.
Or telling you to do. If something just goes, your cat's sick, and it leaves you alone, maybe okay to take that advice.
Yes.
But something's like, your cat's evil, sacrifice me a goat, please.
And you just said, I did it the other day.
What are you talking about? Do you not get the one I left on the porch?
Yeah, I get that though. I suppose when it's making you jump through hoops.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Next one, maybe just a bit of a forewarning. Maybe some people might find it a little bit distressing.
Okay.
Sensitive subject.
I'm going to take my earphones off. If somebody can tell me what the subject of this is, I will decide if I want to listen to it or not.
So this is to do with parents losing a child.
Okay.
All right. So the story is, my wife and I swear that our daughter used to talk to ghosts when she was a toddler, which is, I think, a thing that we often hear. She was only a child at the time. First instance I remember was telling her that she was talking to Nana. That's what I called my grandmother, who passed about 15 years before my daughter was even born. My daughter was young, and so I hadn't even talked about Nana to her, so I showed her a picture and asked who she spoke to. There were 4 women, 3 of which I didn't even know, but without hesitation she pointed to my Nana. Okay, no biggie. Some months later, my wife and I were trying for baby number 2. After my wife gets pregnant, my daughter is sitting next to her on the couch and puts her head on her belly and says,
"Mummy, there's a baby in there."
Okay, maybe that's a coincidence. She overheard us saying something. A few weeks later, my wife miscarries. Maybe my daughter picked up on our sadness, who knows, but she again puts her head on her stomach and says,
"Mummy, there's no baby in there anymore."
Oh.
Then, several months and one more very early miscarriage later, my daughter tells us,
"I was talking to my brother last night and he said that my sister is coming to live with me soon."
again, she's an only child and had no living brother. We were still trying at this point but had not taken tests. However, we picked one up that night and sure enough, pregnant.
Wow.
When time came to reveal the gender, I wasn't even interested. My daughter already said it was a girl, and sure enough, now I have 2 daughters.
Wowzers.
It's a lot of coincidences, potentially.
Yeah, if maybe one had happened, you could maybe brush it off, but if it's so consistent, it does seem very strange.
I think when it involves children, it's innately more creepy somehow.
Yeah, well, you think that they shouldn't know about any of this sort of stuff, so when information comes from somebody who shouldn't be able to make it up,
Yeah, it's exactly that, I think.
I think that's the crux of it. Yeah, because people often think that paranormal's a load of bollocks and, it's just made up. So somebody can make up a creepy story and you can go, oh, that's creepy. But to come from somebody who shouldn't be privy to that information, then you're like, well, that's weird.
Yeah, exactly. Penultimate one for you. When I was about 10 years old, I was playing with silly putty in my room, as you do, when my mum called me down for dinner. I had moulded it into a ball, placed it perfectly down behind me, and I'm talking, placing it down as softly as you can be, because I didn't want to ruin the efforts.
Obviously.
When I stood up to go downstairs, I felt something hit the back of my head with some force. So I turned around and I see my silly putty ball not on the ground anymore, but bouncing on my windowsill until it eventually rolled back onto the floor. Needless to say, I ran downstairs hysterically, trying to tell my mum what happened. True story.
Weird. A little bit of poltergeist activity.
Yeah, no evidence for it as such, but if that is true, that's odd.
My thoughts are, why would somebody make a story like that up?
I suppose.
No gain for them in any way, shape or form other than them posting it and then forgetting about it.
Especially when it was like an anonymous post as well.
Exactly, yeah.
There's not even any fame to be had.
Precisely, yeah.
And also it goes back to that idea of, if one of these things is true, that's mental.
Yeah, then that's world changing.
Yeah, exactly. It only takes one. And final story for you. I grew up in a very scientific family. I never knew my dad's stance on ghosts, they were just never talked about. One day when I was in high school, we were eating dinner and I decided to ask my dad about our old house and moving into it when I was just a baby. So he told me a story. Apparently, when we moved into this house, we lived there about a week before we started to receive gifts. once a week.
Okay.
So every Friday morning, my dad told me that there would be some sort of handcrafted gift sitting on the mantle of our fireplace. My dad was reasonably freaked out by this because we were the only ones with keys to the house and the last owners moved well out of state. So he informed the local police and they decided to patrol the property every Friday night looking for intruders. They found nothing, and as you could imagine, the gifts kept coming. So my dad told me they eventually gave up, and feeling a little bit helpless, he went to our local church. Eventually, he had a priest come and bless the house, and we did stop receiving the gifts. Now, what really freaked me out about this was the fact that my dad never believed in ghosts. He didn't ever mention once that a ghost was causing these gifts to appear. He was an engineer, so he tries to debunk paranormal stories with realistic explanation.
Of course.
But he was 100% serious with his story. Now, one of the gifts we received, we actually still have. It's a small wooden sled with a little painting of a man, presumably my dad, pulling me and my sister on the sled, but nothing of my mum. Perhaps the freakiest part is that we received this gift about 8 months to a year before my mother passed away from cancer, so that made the painting on the sled very weird in hindsight.
Very strange.
I put that one last because I think that's just a bit unusual. You know, it's not your typical, oh, I saw something.
Yeah. It's just something being left on your mantelpiece every Friday.
Yeah.
How bizarre.
That would be kind of good, though, if you had a little side hustling selling gig.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like, keep them coming. So there you have it. Some potentially paranormal stories from people that didn't believe it until those things happened.
Would any of those be enough to change your mind, Jordan?
I think if it happened to me, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't disbelieve it anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay. I'll shop then.
Despite what I say. I just don't think you can smell metal shavings.
And that's a fair assumption to have, I think.
But I could definitely smell the baked baguette legs.
They have to be baked, otherwise they'd just crumble under you, wouldn't they? You have to be crispy.
Yeah, I mean, there'd be no support, would they?
Not at all. Well, Jordan, thank you very much for that.
You're very welcome.
And hopefully that has made anyone who is a disbeliever out there maybe reconsider their stance on the paranormal, because it's out there and it's coming for you.
Hopefully you weren't speaking to me when you said that.
Oh, I am doing. I'm sending them all over.
Right, I'm off.
I'm moving house. See you later.
I'm going to build 130 rooms.
Good idea. Yeah, very good idea. We'll never find you
It
then.
might confuse them.
Beautiful. Right, Jordan. So with that, does that about bring us round to the end of today's episode?
I think it does.
Fantastic news. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Two Guys What's Up. Don't forget to follow the show wherever you listen to us so you don't miss another episode, and maybe even tell a friend. Take your friend to a place that shaves metal and let us know if they smell. And
Do you mean the friend smells?
just let us know if anything smells. I'm interested in scents. And just when they ask you why the hell you're making them smell metal shavings and themselves, then just say, I heard about this on a podcast called Two Guys What's Up. You should listen to them.
True story. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, our Linktree link is in the bio of this episode, which you can click on and be jetted off to every link you will ever need for all your Two Guys What's Up essentials. Want to get your own Two Guys What's Up t-shirt? Click the link.
Want to learn how to construct your own house constantly so ghosts don't find you? Click the link.
Want to make shapes with your own silly putty? Click the link.
And when you click that link, it will blast you off to Patreon, the home of all your Two Guys What's Up extra essentials, including pin badges, shoutouts, t-shirts, and if you really can't get enough of our fantastic tales and metal-shaved voices, well, now you can get more of each because there are 24 bonus episodes set up on the Patreon right now, and there is a new bonus episode released the last Friday of every single month. There are, like I say, just 24 sat up there right now waiting for you to go and have a little wriggle around in all that extra audio goodness. And all that starts from just £3.
And so if you'd like to help support the show and get some cool stuff while you do so, head over to patreon.com/Two Guys What's Up to check out all the goodies over there. The link will be down below for your clicking pleasure.
But if you can't do that, but you'd still like to help us out, then a 5-star rating and review in your podcast app of choice would be the best, most helpful and freest way to do that for us, and we would be eternally grateful.
We would indeed.
But on that note, thanks for listening, y'all have an amazing week, and we will see you next Monday! I'll tell you what, just before we crack on, I'm going to take 2 minutes just to myself, okay?
Okay.
I mean, you can talk. I think what it is I'm used to me sending my script to you at this point.
Yes.
So I just like the little break.
Okay.
And when I'm looking at a full edit and I'm like, oh, like 2 hours long or whatever, I can just cut this chunk out and it takes like lots of it off and I'm like, yeah.
I suppose. Or it's a false sense of security when you're like, oh, we've got an hour's recording. Oh, no, it's 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm off to make some toast.
I'm just cooking a roast dinner.
Is it possible to heat a chicken so quickly that it just warms it and it isn't cooked?
I mean, as long as the internal temperature reaches what is necessary to be safe, then it doesn't matter. All that could happen is that the outer part will just dry out and it won't be very nice.
So is it possible to heat a chicken so it kills the bacteria, so it's a safe temperature, but it is still pink?
Yeah, you can have actually temperature safe cooked chicken and some of the meat is still a little bit pink.
I don't like it.
Well, I mean, it's safe. I mean, the worst thing you can have is just dried out chicken that's just stringy.
Don't really bother me, mate. All goes down the same way.
Yeah, but when you compare that to a lovely, juicy chicken breast that's cooked to perfection, they are night and day difference.
Don't bother me. To be honest, I'm not really a fan of chicken, so it can fuck off.
You're not a fan of that, or steak, or seafood?
No, I'm not really a meaty person, you know. Whenever I eat a curry, I always eat the meat first to get it out the way because I just find it flavourless.
Wow.
Like, I prefer the sauce and the rice and the vegetables.
Why don't you just get a veggie curry?
Because, well, the ones... Because vegetable curries come with things like peppers and tomatoes, like they're the meat filler,
right.
If that makes sense. But a chicken curry or a lamb curry will come with like onions and spinach and stuff like that, and then the meat is the filler part. So I like the onions and the spinach, but wouldn't want it with like peppers and tomatoes.
Why don't you just ask for a chicken curry without the chicken?
It's not a bad plan. No, because then there'd just be a fucking pot of sauce. That'd be weird. They'd be like, what the fuck?
That's apparently what you like.
Well, it is what I like, but I'm not going to get like shot down.
That and a bit of basmati.
Well, egg rice all the way, bro.
That's so funny.
All right. I'm done being put down. I'm ready.
Oh, yeah, great.
I'm done being ridiculed.
No, you're not.
Right, that's it.
Plenty more left. Oh, I love it. Oh.